Wow, is this the next Nvidia which would go up 1000% in 5 years? As you know, Nvidia went up 200% in just 10 months. So how about its major supplier, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which by the way holds the market share 90% of the most advanced chips in the world. Basically almost all the AI chips are produced by TSMC. So will TSMC's share price go up 1000% in 5 years' time? Well, there are some movements. Maybe this is the start of the trend. It went up 10% a few days ago within 1 day. Maybe the upward trend is continuing in the coming few years or even coming few weeks. If this is the first time you're here, my name is Eric. I've been investing since I was 18 years old for more than 20 years. Yeah, I know I'm a bit young, right? Anyway, I invest in all kinds of instruments, stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, warrants, options, even watches, you name it. In this channel, I want to provide you unique insight about Asian stocks listed in the US. Remember to subscribe so that you're not going to miss out. If we talk about semiconductors, everyone talks about Samsung, Intel, this kind of big brands, right? No one hears about TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. But in fact, it has a 90% market share, yes, 90 market share of the most advanced chips in the world. We're talking about 5 nanometer, 3 nanometers, really cutting edge. No one else has the technology to do that. With the surge of AI, this kind of technology, especially this kind of chips, become more and more important. We're talking about fighter jets, we're talking about robotics, everything. That's also one of the reasons why the US is so concerned when China threatens to invade Taiwan, because it has 90% market share of the most advanced microchips in the world. TSMC drew my attention since it went up 10% in 1 day a few days ago on the 17th of October, after the announcement of the Q3 results. And I suspect that there's a trend brewing underneath that could push it up to 1000% in 5 years, similar to Nvidia. But why does it happen in the first place? In short, the extraordinary demand of AI chips, for example, Nvidia's H100 GPU, and the results in Q3 was much better than expected. Let's dive into that and understand why exactly it's go up. Let's have a quick bird's eye view of the most important financials. Revenue growth. Revenue growth was growing much higher than expected. The indicator earlier was 20 to 25% of growth year on year. But the actual results in Q3 was 36% growth of revenue. And they expected the next quarter, Q4, would be 35%. So it would be much higher than expected. And this is mainly driven by the strong demand of AI chips and smartphones. So smartphones basically is iPhones because Apple is their biggest client. How about profits? Their profit margins is pretty good. Gross margin is 58% and the actual profit growth last quarter was 54%. All pretty good. Well, price to earnings ratio not as good, is around 33, which is pretty expensive compared with other companies. However, they deserve it because they are the strong market leader, basically monopoly in the high-end chip market with the 5 nanometer and 3 nanometers chips. So no one can actually compete with them. So they deserve to have a high PE ratio. If you don't know what's PE ratio, check out the link above. I talked about it before. And by the way, their market capitalization, market cap almost went up to $1 trillion, which is pretty crazy. With such good financials and the two main factors, one being that AI and 5G are demanding a lot of AI chips, and they are the absolute leaders with cutting edge technologies. That's why the stock price went up a lot, and I think it would continue to go up a lot. The second thing is that they start to build factories in Japan and also in the United States. That means they would diversify their risks in case China invades. This is a good sign because it means that they will have more capacity worldwide in the coming decades to come. Okay, it's not all sunshine and rosy, right? There are also some risks. Number one being the Chinese-US relationship, because obviously TSMC is based in Taiwan And if Taiwan being invaded by China, then they cannot make any chips anymore. Then the stock price would crash. The second one being that Samsung and Intel obviously are catching up in their games, especially in the foundry business. So foundry business basically means that they're being contracted, for example, by Nvidia, this kind of companies, to produce chips. And the third point is about, I don't remember. And the third point is about the fact that they are very reliant on certain clients. For example, Apple counts for 20% of their revenue, and then we have Nvidia, so only a few major clients. So if anything wrong with one of them, for example, if Apple start to not selling as much in China and the demands drop, that would impact also TSMC. And among the three risks mentioned just now, I think number 1 and number 3 are the most important. Number 2 with Samsung and Intel, I think they're still pretty far away. But if there's something happening in Taiwan, or if something happening with the major clients like Apple and Nvidia, then there will be a big drop. To wrap it up, do I think that TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, will achieve the same results as Nvidia a few years ago, basically growing 1000% in share price in 5 years? The short answer is yes. I think there's a high chance that they could do the same. In terms of short-term bet, I'm not too sure. It's more volatile, maybe just a small amount of money. But if you talk about 5 years' time to grow 10 times, I'm pretty confident. Of course, with the assumption that China is not going to invade Taiwan or Apple is not going to cut its orders by half, right? But overall, I think this could be potentially future Tesla or a future Facebook back in the days, when it grew a few times, 10 times their value, right? What do you think about that? Leave me in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. This will keep us going. Thank you. See you next time.